Hi, I'm Benji. I work at a company called Shipyard. I'm actually the co-founder, and we're going to talk about Makefiles 49 years later because why would you do a 50-year anniversary? You can do 49. 1976, we've got people, it's the start of everything, Bell Labs. We'll get to that next slide, but source files, a lot of manual compilation. We're going from punch cards to actual, Unix-based programming, C programming languages. There's some really smart people at Bell Labs, and one of them, Stuart Feldman, and dealing with dependencies back then was even worse than GoDeps today. So the problem that drove him was he was tired of forgetting which files need to be compiled. In April 1976, he was working on Fortran, a bunch of other stuff, and he's like, I'm going to make this simple declarative way to describe build dependencies. The core concepts, this is actually important: targets, dependencies, rules. Super simple, super powerful, and it's kind of lasted the test of time. Real quick, how many people use Makefile in the last 2 months? A little less than I would like to see. Clean and elegant syntax. It's literally, you have a target, you got some names, and then you have the command itself. And there's one or two other cool things we'll talk about in a second, but it's super clean and elegant, like a pug ballerina. I have a pug that's part of that. So timestamp intelligence, I think, is probably the coolest thing, especially back then. This is incremental builds, cache busting in 1976. Basically, if the source file that you're doing something to, the timestamp is older than the thing that it creates, or the thing that it generated, it creates it does it again. And that's really cool. Controversially or not, tabs is what you're supposed to use there, not spaces. So as first or old school tabs versus spaces. Phony, there was a problem if you did make clean, but you had a folder that said clean. It was a problem because it was very confused. It started taking input. So then they added this phony thing in 1988 for make GNU, and that solved all the problems. Here's some quick examples. I use this for my like every single project. The first thing I do is I make a Makefile. You can kind of look at the syntax. I'll share the slides, but I think a lot of you know what this is. But you can chain these things, and you just basically do make start. For CI pipelines, it's even better, I think. You can have your Circle YAML run Makefiles, or GitHub Action, or Jenkins, or hopefully nothing worse than Jenkins. And so that's super cool. And then you can also have that same pattern locally using the Makefile, same thing. Patterns that endure: declarative over imperative, dependency-driven execution, composable targets, and then self-documenting. I think that's probably the coolest thing, is that you can actually read a Makefile and be like, oh, that's how I compile this program or whatever. Why not modern tools? Make is not as much as I expected, but it's still pretty prominent for a 49-year-old tool. Zero dependencies, universal. It's on all the laptops. You can look at that slide later. A lot of alternatives over the years. Just is the one that I've been playing with a little bit. That's the one I feel guilty about. I don't know. I kind of like Just. Maybe it's just the name. All the other stuff is crazy. This is a nice quote: worse is better. Think about it. Simplicity, correctness, consistency, performance. And again, we're all talking about this thing 49 years later, and a lot of us have used it. At least we know what it is. What we can learn from all of this is solve one problem really well, design for composability, keep it readable, and then embrace the constraints, right? We don't have to make a tool that does everything. We can make a tool that does one thing really well and it lasts. It's not about the technology. It's about the principles. Simple mental models, clear abstractions, minimal surface area, solving real problems, and of course, embracing the Unix philosophy. You chain these things together, all that other stuff. Good design transcends technology trends. And Make will probably still be here, I think, in 49 years. Do we think that it will be? Who thinks it'll still be around 49 years? If we're still here in 49 years, will Make still be here? Who thinks? I think so. All right. And then I have 2 slides of me saying thank you, so I could ramble on about how much I love Make. And I really, really do think for all of us DevOps professionals, the ability to have a Make locally and Make in your CI, I think it really has changed a lot of people's ability to do things. And also, I didn't even talk about this, but onboarding new devs, and you say, hey, Make local, all of a sudden it works. Thank you, everybody. Benjie De Groot, Shipyard.